We're live. We're here. It's another episode of Cup of Joe. It's been so long. It really has. And let's go ahead and share this stream real quick. We're live. Let me send it to you, Josh. Welcome, everyone. Here's Josh.
What's up?
Let's. I sent to you, Josh. Got a couple people watching here. Let's go ahead and share it all over social media. We're going to get some guests on the show today. We're going to have a pretty good discussion, not about Corona, because Corona is so ridiculous. And we have this new button here, fake news. Josh, Corona? What is it?
Corona? Fake news. It is fake news.
It's fake news. It's fake news. It's the fakest of news. And it's a lot of people are overreacting about Corona right now. So just to give you perspective right now. I went to the grocery store a couple nights back, and I noticed no toilet paper. I noticed no hand sanitizer, very little soap was left, no face masks. You cannot really find a lot of medical equipment. And it's quite incredible that people are just now preparing for a socialist presidency, because that's exactly what it'll be like. They're preparing for a Bernie Sanders presidency.
So I just want to say that I think not to really put the coronavirus on the side, but we should also keep in mind that just keeping the facts in mind, more people have died at a faster rate from communism and socialism effects over the last century, and even to this day they're still taking lives. So, you look at the human rights abuses even in the remaining communist countries today, and socialist policies and how do they affect countries today. I would consider that something that needs to be focused on. But of course, we don't want to offend people on the left because their ideology sucks. And you look at the impact that has. How many people have died from coronavirus so far, Joe? Not even 15, if I'm not mistaken. Not even 20.
It's gone up
from our country. I'm saying.
Yeah, it's gone up.
All right, so
30-something.
Around 30-something. Okay.
Yeah.
So you look at that. How many people have died from leftist policies that are constantly failing the inner cities? How many people have died from gun violence because of these restrictive gun laws?
When you really take a perspective on what's been happening in the last couple weeks, right? The stock market is dropping dramatically. You have a lot of people are going crazy. They're canceling events. The NBA just canceled their season. MLB just canceled their spring training, and they're delaying their actual season. The NHL is cutting their season early. So you're seeing this huge fear, and it's affecting the economy. And one thing that people don't really understand is the fact that the main focus on the main threat of the Wuhan virus or the China virus is not death. The main focus is mostly an economic threat. So we're seeing that just today, the Dow Jones went down nearly 2,000 points. We haven't seen numbers like this when it comes to negative numbers like this from the Dow Jones since 2007. We haven't seen this in a very, very long time. And our economy is extremely strong still. But 4 weeks ago, not even 3 weeks ago, we were at 29,000 points. We're at 21,000 points right now at the Dow. We've gone down dramatically. And I can't help to think that the leftists out there want a recession. They want a recession. They want people to suffer just to make President Trump look bad. It's no longer about the virus. They don't care about the virus. They don't care about anything. If they really cared about the virus, they will call it out for what it is. It's the China virus. It's the Wuhan virus because it's from China. But instead, Trump says it's a foreign virus. It's from China. It's from Wuhan. He says facts, and yet people like AOC calling Trump a racist for stating a fact, for stating the fact that it's from China. And AOC goes on, I think it was like an Instagram live stream or something, saying, people are ignoring or they're refusing to go to Chinese restaurants, and Chinese business owners are suffering because of coronavirus. There are no statistics to prove that. There's no actual facts. Like that's an assumption at that point. But you have people like AOC that they do not really care because all they care about is identity politics. All they care about is they want a recession to bring Trump down. That's literally it. And this virus, it's grown so immensely worldwide, where you have conferences and music festivals here in the United States that are being canceled or delayed. So you have Ultra Music Festival was canceled. It was supposed to actually happen, I believe, this weekend or next weekend, and it was completely canceled. You have South by Southwest canceled. Coachella moved to October. All in hopes that hopefully by then it will be over. We are close to a cure. This is something you don't hear in the media. We are close to a cure. We are close to a vaccine. You're hearing in the media, it could be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. No, we're actually extremely close to getting a cure or a vaccine. Laboratories here in the United States, as well as laboratories over in Israel, believe it or not, if you know anything about Israel, you know that they're geniuses when it comes to medicine. We're so close right now. We are extremely close. The main thing right here is, and I would say a positive thing about Corona is the fact that people are now a lot cleaner than they were 4 weeks ago, which is, I think, is hilarious. People are actually washing their hands. They're covering their mouth when they cough. They're being a lot more, they're actually using what we learned in preschool and kindergarten when it comes to, wash your hands before you eat and after you eat, and wipe counters down and stuff like that. It's staying clean. Finally, people are actually giving a crap about staying clean in America. I want to get your thoughts, Josh.
I mean, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, everything that's been happening right now, people have been reacting immediately. They're taking precautions. They're trying to be a little more responsible, and it plays into people's heads. When an emergency is happening. But I think what I disagree with is just a lot of people, especially the media, the Democrat Party, for political purposes, they're overreacting. They're trying to blow this out of proportion so that they can hurt Trump's economy. Everything is always political at the end of the day. There's a goal behind everything, a hidden motive, and the Democrats just, their end goal is the same goal they've had since Trump got elected in 2016. That's to hurt President Trump, to get him removed from office, or to get him to prevent him from becoming reelected in 2020. And they're going to take advantage of any any terrible tragedy or opportunity that they have just to accomplish that. And we have to keep that in mind and use our good judgment to make sure that we don't play into their fears and react based off of what they are saying. That is a trap that we should not fall for.
So one thing I really want to touch on when it comes to Corona is the political. And one thing that I think is the main reason why the media is giving so much attention to Corona, and which let's stop calling it Corona, by the way. It's the Wuhan virus. It's the China virus. That's what it is. We need to blame China for what they did. And there's a lot that's wrong with this, but there's a political motive behind this. It's very clear. The political motive is very clear. So you have, it's not only domestic policy or domestic politics, but it's also foreign politics. When you look at China, they are, if you go to China, like state news, right? Which that just sounds scary. State news just sounds scary. That's what happens when you live in a communist socialist country. They're blaming us for the virus, right? China is blaming President Trump for this virus outbreak, right? Although all facts show that it came from Wuhan and it traveled over here. Okay. Who do you think the United States is taking China's side at this point? The faces like AOC, like Bernie Sanders, like Joe Biden, they're all blaming Trump for the virus rather than saying it's because of Chairman Xi. It's because of the communists in China. They're not even taking care of their own people. And who knows the intent of China for this? I know Josh wants to talk.
So when you put it that way, that's a very interesting way of putting it. Let me pose a question. What's the difference when you think about that? What you just said. What's the difference between the Communist Party in China, the government in China, and the fake news and Democrats in our country? What's the difference? They both want Trump out of their way or out of office, and they both don't really care about the people in both of their countries. They just they have their own selfish motives. Whether it's power driven or just whatever the case is, they just have their own personal interests. They don't care about the people that are possibly being affected by this virus or the people who are already affected by this virus. They're the biggest enemies. And I say I put them in one bundle, and I stand by that. The Communist Party in China, the media, the Democrats, these are all anti-American forces at play. It's unfortunate that we have those forces domestically as well. We have to acknowledge that that's what they are. They are anti-American forces.
It's really interesting, when you actually do put it that way, because people like Charlie Kirk say that the Democrats and the left, they hate Trump more than they love this country. And you're seeing it right now. And one thing I think is really funny that the Democrats have been saying and stuff is you have Democrats for years now advocating for socialized healthcare, advocating for healthcare for all, Medicare for all, whatever they call it. And what's really interesting is they've been advocating for that for so many years, yet right now they're saying that the government's not competent enough to actually take care of one virus. And it shows here that government is not always the answer. Government is not always the answer. And this is something I think is really, really important here, is government's not always the answer to every single problem in this country. And for example, I'll pose a question to the audience right now. Tell me one good thing that government has done. Like effectively, efficiently, without going over budget, without anything going wrong. Something that just, it's every single day, it happens, and it's good. Okay? A lot of people tell me the post office. No, they're bankrupt. The post office is bankrupt right now. Okay? And by the way, they're incompetent. Like, you literally will not get your package on time ever with the U.S. Post Office. But, okay, the roads. Really? Have you driven ever? The roads are crap. And by the way, the roads are state-owned unless you go to federal highways. And even the federal highways, they're crap. Okay, what else? Education. What? We're like 23 in the world for education. We're not doing too well. We're failing our American children today. So name one thing. Some people say military. The military wastes a tremendous amount of money every single day. Not one thing does the government do right. Josh?
No, I was going to say, how dare you put down our public servants at public schools? They provide fine education. Literacy rates are a very important thing to the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders, he praises, examples of figures that have been successful in these fields, such as Supreme Leader Castro. We should try to take example from them. Why are you bashing public education?
You are so ridiculous. Here's the thing. You have like a lot of socialists today that they will say, I don't trust the government. I will never trust the government. I hate the government. And then say, I want the government to run my entire life. Right. And they don't get it. Right. They don't understand the fact that they know that the government's incompetent. They know it's not competent at all. Right. But they still want the government to run healthcare, by the way, biggest thing that the government screws up on is Social Security. Social Security is the worst thing the government has ever done. Our generation, we're not going to see our Social Security. We're just not. But the previous generation, they're seeing it right now, right? Oh, not millennials, but because we're Zoomers. But I'm talking about the Boomer generation and the X gens. They're going to be seeing their Social Security. We're not. Millennials and Zoomers will not see their Social Security. And that's because of the government. The government's fault completely. it's because of them. So when you take in consideration the fact that these people, I ask them every time I meet a socialist, do you trust the government? Do you trust the government at all? And they said, no. Not one person has said yes. They all said, I do not trust the government. Okay, if you don't trust the government, what the hell are you doing advocating for socialism? Because you know what socialism is. Total state control of pretty much everything in your life, right? I know we're gonna have socialists in the chat. We're gonna have socialists in the comments saying, no, it's whatever they always say, but means of production, right? Seize the means of production. Listen, that's what Karl Marx said. That's what Lenin said. And you know what Lenin said? Vladimir Lenin said something really, really interesting, which was socialism. The goal of socialism is communism. I cannot trust Lenin, right, to run my country. And if he said one of the founding fathers of Soviet-style communism, he says that, and now we have a guy running for president, crazy Bernie Sanders, who wants to bring that policy, those sorts of policies, into the country. I think it's ridiculous. Go ahead, Josh.
So you make a very interesting point about how socialists, people who self-proclaim themselves as socialists, they say, "Oh, I don't trust the government either." We can agree on that. But like you said, their insanity is that they actually still advocate for more government, and what they don't realize that they're doing that. But what they claim, if you talk to them, they say, "No, I don't stand for more government. I believe that it should be ran by the people, or the government should be ran by the people." So when you say you don't trust the government, you're essentially saying you don't trust people because people run the government. Which people are you talking about to run the government instead? Which people? You're going to handpick them? What's the difference? It doesn't matter what ideology they believe in. People at their core are always going to do, and more often than not, the stupid, selfish thing. It's human nature. So you're going to put other people in charge all of a sudden, in charge of the government, and you're not going to be able to trust them any more than the last people, because government is inherently evil, and that's what these people who try to advocate for socialist candidates or policies don't understand. Their ideas are always destined for failure, regardless of who they place in power.
So you're definitely putting a great point there. And hold on one second. I'm trying to bring some guests on right now as well at the same time. So trying to get Chandler Crump on here, and as well as Adi from Patriot Productions in here. Probably Lance Videos will join in. We got a lot of people wanting to join in right now. Danielle wants to join as well. I've been live with her many times in the past. Okay, so Josh, you're completely right. So you have to look into the fact that Chandler's sick, so he's not joining. But it's really hilarious when you are talking to a socialist and they really, really don't even know what they're saying, right? They're completely hypocritical on by their own belief, right? By saying, they believe that socialism is going to work, and they believe in everything about socialism, but at the same time, they don't believe in the government. And the funniest people I've ever met in my life in politics are anarcho-communists. So anarcho-communists, which already is an oxymoron, already just doesn't make sense, are people who believe in a community-style government. This is their definition: a community-style government, communityism, which is communism, with no government, that you volunteer to be governed. And what's really funny is actually, like, one of my coworkers used to be one, and an anarcho-communist. And it's really funny because I told her, I said, like, well, why don't you go out and live like the Amish? And now she's in Pennsylvania living like the Amish. She's over in one of those Amish towns in Pennsylvania, which I think is really funny. But you have to really understand how the only real, true political ideology that makes sense and is not hypocritical and actually stays consistent is a conservative capitalist in America. It's the only one. It stays consistent all the way through. We are free speech absolutists. We believe in the Second Amendment. We believe in little to no regulation on businesses. We believe in low taxes. We believe in getting rid of multiple taxes. You talk to a socialist, they always talk about, oh, well, I believe in Medicare for all. And then some people would say, I believe in childcare for all. And then you'll have another person that says, well, I believe for childcare for all, except for the top 1%, aka Elizabeth Warren, who in her plan says childcare for all. Well, when she was running for president, Pocahontas is gone now, but Senator Warren said that she's going to give childcare for all, government childcare for all, unless you're over a certain income bracket. So if socialism is really to make everyone equal, it's really not. If you look at it in practice, you look at it on paper, and you actually read the policies that they're trying to implement, what it really is to not even bring the lower income people up, but to keep them down here and take the people and all, rich people, high income people down. There's only one group of people that will go up. Want to guess? It's the government. People who work in government. It's the president, the vice president, the cabinet members. Those are the people that are going to thrive. Those are the people that are not going to be standing in bread lines. Those are the people that are going to be just having fun, partying, going to, their beach house. Cough, cough, Bernie Sanders. One of his 3 houses, whatever. And here's the thing. I have no problem with Bernie Sanders having a 3-point-something million dollar net worth. I have no problem. I actually am happy for him that he made that money. And I'm happy the fact that he has 3 houses. Good for him. But I'm going to call out on his hypocriticism because he's being a hypocrite right here. He wants to tax the top 1%. And you know what's funny? Right. Last year, I was on Fox at a town hall for Bernie Sanders. And I asked the first question. And on that day was the first ever day that his tax returns or his taxes were actually released. And that's when the masses knew the fact that he was a millionaire and found out that he was in the top 1%, right? I asked him a question. I said, now that we know you're a millionaire, when are you going to pay your fair share in taxes, right? Because he always talks about, the top 1% does not pay their fair share in taxes and all that stuff. Bernie does not, right? According to his own plan. He completely did not answer my question. But from that day on, he's no longer saying millionaires. He's no longer talking crap about millionaires. He's talking crap about the billionaires. The left continues to push the goalpost. They're moving the goalpost. That's all they're doing. There's never an end to it. It's a constant game that they're playing. And that's just the nature of the left. The nature of the left is we're going to go ahead and change everything we can in order to make it look positive for us. But the people know. The American people, the silent majority, we know. We see the BS. We do. We see the BS from Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. We see it. And we will always see it. And we'll call them out for it. But it's not going to stop them. Speaking of one of these people, and Josh, I'm gonna bring you in on this. You're kind of lagging a little bit. Your camera's a little laggy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Let me here. How about you reset your stuff real quick, and I'll bring you back in. One thing that is really interesting is you have Joe Biden just a couple days ago in the wonderful crime-ridden city of Detroit in Michigan. I believe it was the day of Super Tuesday 2.0. And he is talking to a I think Josh is back here. Still loading for me. There you go. I want to get your opinion on this in a minute. Oh, geez. So, okay, we got Danielle is waiting in to be brought in. She wants to talk about coronavirus, but we're going to bring her in just a minute. So, Danielle, wait just 1 second, please. You have Joe Biden screaming at a union worker. How incredible is that? He says, and this is me quoting Joe Biden here, okay? This union worker comes up to me and says, you're against guns. You want to take my guns away, whatever. Joe Biden immediately says, you're full of shit, right? Because you're full of shit. And then a staffer, one of his female staffers comes up and grabs him and says, okay, let's go on, right? Literally like an old person that needs help, right? Just like, okay, let's go. And he shushes her twice. And then tells the guy, threatens to slap him, and then asks if he wants to go outside. This is the front runner of the Democrat Party, ladies and gentlemen. This is the front runner. And Trump's going to win by a landslide. I just know it. Josh, what are your thoughts?
He ain't blowing the head. I don't know if I would trust him with nukes. I mean, he doesn't even know which state he's in half the time. If there was like an emergency and he treats an ally. The guy is senile. He's crazy. I don't understand why people even consider him.
You are lagging tremendously, by the way. I don't know. Can you see that?
No, it's fine.
Yeah, you are lagging tremendously. Look on the stream. You're lagging a lot as well. Danielle, are you ready? We're going to bring you in, and we're going to talk about Corona. She's ready. Give me a thumbs up here. We are going to bring her in right now.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
I'm pretty pissed, actually.
You're pissed? Why are you pissed?
I'm pretty pissed. I spent my entire day. You see this? See how bad I look? That's because I've spent all day reading and listening and just researching the coronavirus.
Okay.
And
by the way, on the show, we don't call it Corona. We call it the Wuhan virus.
That's probably a better name.
The Wuhan, or you can say the China virus. It is the China virus. It is a foreign virus from China, from Chairman Xi himself. Okay, so we're gonna call it the Wuhan or China virus, not Corona, because Corona is a good beer.
Sorry, but Lance just does a better job of imitating.
Lance does not. Lance is you know what? I want Lance to come on here right now, and I'm going to tell him how crappy his Trump impression is. It's
actually
horrendous.
Pretty good. It's just really annoying when it's 24/7.
Lance, you just got exposed. Lance is canceled. Lance's Donald Trump impression is canceled.
No, I have a lot of love for Lance.
I have a lot of love for that kid, but he is quite the interesting human being.
I had a lot of CPAC adventures with him.
I see. So go on about the Wuhan virus.
Well, so let me tell you why my interest in this whole thing sparked. Because I really didn't care up until this week because of Midwestern Regional Conference. And so I came back from CPAC and obviously made a mistake, told my mom that there was somebody at CPAC who got it. And of course, my mom went berserk and she was really upset. And are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. You disappeared, and so I didn't know what happened.
No, I'm still here. I'm just giving you the full screen because you're
okay. Gotcha. Talking. Okay. So anyhow, I come back from CPAC and I'm stressed and I do all my stuff that I need to do. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to go to South Regional Eastern Conference because I need to do this test. And then after I do this test, then I'm going to go to Chicago for the Midwestern Conference. And so that was kind of my consolation prize. Well, then lo and behold, this past week, I guess yesterday, the day before yesterday, all the Tennessee schools shut down. So all the state colleges and I think pretty much almost every private college shut down and said that we are extending spring break a week. And then after that, we're resuming classes online. And
And
so,
you know what's really interesting? Not to cut you off, but I don't know if any of the viewers here or anyone watching the highlights or anything know. I'm in the middle of a Turning Point USA event, campus type tour. I guess it's not really a tour, but I'm hitting a bunch of campuses, and actually, I was only able to hit one of them because every other school canceled because of Wuhan virus, and it sucks because now you have a lot of schools that are in this really weird spot where it's okay. Do we only extend by a week? Now, what happens if the risk is still high in a week? Because there are some studies saying that it's going to double in the next 6 days when it comes to people having corona. It's going to double within the next 6 days. So that means the risk is going to go significantly higher. And what are they going to do now? Do they go to online learning? Do they just stop the semester in total? Or, what are they going to do? So there's a lot of schools doing that. My old college, Kutztown, is in the middle of fighting this right now. They just extended their spring break, which I'm sure a lot of students are happy, but they're extending
actually, the extending spring break part is actually a smart idea because everybody is traveling over spring break. And so it gives enough time just for people to get over the at least the first incubation stage of that 5 days. And so I actually think that's not like a bad move by schools just to make sure everybody's well.
It's not a bad move, but it's one of those, it's like, what do you do next?
Yeah.
Right?
So pretty much every school in Tennessee, except for maybe one community college, everybody in Tennessee, they've canceled all classes until April or the end of March, and then everybody's going online. So until further notice.
That's interesting.
Some people, like Belmont, starts back normal classes April 7th or something like that, and all the UT schools are going online until further notice. I think some of them resume in April. MTSU doesn't know yet what they want to do.
And I think this online learning path that a lot of schools are taking is a smart idea.
I agree.
If they're taking this seriously, they should definitely do that.
But I will say,
it is annoying. Like,
I definitely get the whole, like, right now, actually, my chapter is in the middle of trying to figure out what we want to do with our speaker event, because I actually want to still have our speaker event. We just can't have it on campus. So I'm actually trying to find a way to where we can actually work with Blexit and try to host like a co-hosted event and have it off campus. But anyways,
that would be nice.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. We've tried for so long to get like a speaker that I'm not about to like let him go. So anyways, I'm doing all this research and I'm still planning to go to Midwestern. I hadn't confirmed. I'm still planning to go to Midwestern, and my lovely Chinese mother, who's been reading every piece of Chinese news and every Chinese blog that is out there, she starts to freak the heck out. And and she's like, no, I don't want you to go because you're going to go and you can be asymptomatic. You can bring it back and you'll infect all of us and your poor grandmother and you'll kill her. And you are selfish for even wanting to go. And I don't understand. And I'm over here trying to figure out like what the best way to go is, like what I should do. I was planning to like quarantine myself just for a few days afterwards, just to make sure everybody's safe. And then she's like, no, you actually have to find somewhere else to stay if you're going to go and then come back. So you have to like find somewhere else.
We have a question in the chat here by Tim Jackson here. Do you think China used the virus to cover up killing people? They took people who didn't have the virus into quarantine at gunpoint, and then those people, quote, died from the virus. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you.
So,
I'm going to bring Josh in here for a minute and get his advice on it as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a... I would say that they are covering up killing people. I mean, I don't know if you heard recently, there was a hotel or some sort of structure. I think it was a hotel that was built in China in 2018. It was a very stable structure with it. And they were holding about 70 infected individuals with the Wuhan virus in that building. And it just randomly collapsed. And they were all trapped in there while infected. And it was just a mess. How did it collapse? We don't know. And you can go on and on. There's people like doctors who were trying to in advance that were suppressed and then brought into custody, questioned, and then they magically caught the virus. Some of them were apparently they were just Chinese government is always trying to hide the truth. They're punishing dissidents, whether it's an emergency like this one or not, and we have to recognize them for what they are. They're a authoritarian government. They're going to do whatever they want. And yes, they're absolutely killing people to cover up the virus. And they were trying to cover up the cover up too in the beginning.
I mean, Josh puts out a really good point here is the fact that, it is definitely something possible, but we really don't know. Because China is a variant for multiple reasons. I mean, we've seen a lot of their policies have affected a lot of people. I mean, you have Muslims in China that are being completely, they're put into re-education camps, right? And soon they're going to be throwing Christians in there, is what I've been hearing. And this is a really, really big issue here of, what is the real true intent of China right now? They're blaming the United States for this virus. They are killing their own people. They're throwing people into quarantine that don't even have the virus, right? And all of a sudden, I mean, Josh was right here. The building just randomly collapses, and we don't know why. Even state TV and even independent journalists don't even know. And it's a very scary thing. Danielle, what's your take?
Yeah, so obviously we know in the beginning that the guy who originally found the coronavirus and tried to warn other people, he actually was forced to write a statement saying that he was spreading false information. And we know, and my mom has been keeping up with these blogs that people are posting personal blogs of like what's going on in Wuhan and what's going on in the surrounding areas, and people the government keeps taking them down, and people keep reposting them and then keeps getting taken down again. So obviously the government, this has always been the Chinese government ever since the rise of the Communist Party, but they don't want to show weakness. They cannot show weakness. That's why they covered it up for so long. That's why they didn't tell anybody for like 2 months, 3 months. That's why they waited for so long until it was like out of control. And the other thing is about China is that this is what happens when you have this ideology that humans don't intrinsically have value, that we don't have that we're not made in the image of God. Not to bring theology into this, but this is what happens, right? Is you have this like idea, this evolutionary idea, that there are only certain people matter. So basically what happened is China would only take the hospitals would only take young people who got sick. They would not take old people, and they would not take little babies, because survival of the fittest, right? So they would only take the strong ones, the ones who they thought might survive. And so there was a lot of like grandparents and older parents who died because of that. But the other thing I think is interesting is, and this is what irritates me too. So like, and I'm sure like you've heard about this and you've read about this. Coronavirus in America is a lot different than coronavirus in China. And I think people are acting like coronavirus in America is exactly how it is in Italy, exactly how it is in China. And that's just simply not the case. Number one, China is like they don't understand sanitation. They simply don't understand sanitation. When I was little and I lived there, we would stand in a line when you go into the hospital, and I think they still do stuff like this. You'd stand in a line in the hospital and they'd take your blood with a freaking razor that they would just simply wipe off with a like an alcohol wipe, and they reuse it on every person. They don't understand sanitation. Their hospitals, unless you go to like the nicer hospitals, their hospitals aren't clean.
Wow.
Like you can have like fecal matter like on the floor randomly, like, or like urine like in the halls, like unless you're going to like a really nice hospital. Like they just don't understand sanitation over there. And so that's like another reason that like it's spread so much there. And then also I was reading today, we know that the coronavirus affects people that have either autoimmune diseases, they're older, and or they have like some other kind of dysfunction, right? So like so many people in China smoke. It's like a cultural thing there, is that you smoke, right? Almost like vaping here. but like cigarettes. So almost every guy smokes.
Juuling is a human right.
So like 65% of men who got the coronavirus were smokers. 10% of those 65% of men died. And we also know that a lot of those people who died were also older people because they just have weaker immune systems. And so I'm irritated and I'm pissed because everybody here is acting like it's the zombie apocalypse. And I get it. Like, we should be concerned because we don't have a cure for it. But here's the thing is that, like, I'm probably going to make people mad, but I don't get flu vaccines. I just don't.
You're an anti-vaxxer?
What?
Danielle, are you an anti-vaxxer?
I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm anti-forcing
Get the vaccine, Danielle. Look.
I was vaccinated as a baby. Actually, my two sisters were not vaccinated, or vaccinated, I should say. Sorry, but so I'm not against vaccines. I choose not to get the flu vaccine because I don't think it helps all that much. And most people I know who get the vaccine still get the flu. And so to me, like, I don't get it. And I don't care if you get it, right? But the thing about the coronavirus is, like, they keep saying, like, oh, we don't have a cure. As soon as we get a vaccine, as soon as we get a cure, everything will be solved. I don't think that's the case. Especially when you see that most people who get it, it is like a more severe form of the flu, and they recover. So right now in the U.S., I think it's in the U.S. It might be just world. No, I think it's in the U.S. So right now in the U.S., I think there have been 3,000 something people who have died.
No,
that would be worldwide. That's worldwide. Sorry, no,
that's
we have
worldwide. Yeah,
140 people in the U.S. have died. So worldwide, we've had 3,000 people, 3,000 something people who died. 55,000 people recovered.
Yeah,
like
no one talks about this.
About that. What?
No one talks about this. And one thing they don't talk about, I don't know if you're watching earlier, but it's the fact that we were actually a lot closer than what we think to a cure. There are scientists right now in a laboratory here in the United States, as well as a laboratory in Israel, that they're actively looking for a cure and a vaccine for the Wuhan virus. But they're saying we are 2 to 4 weeks away to getting it.
There's, I think, some debate on that. So like, I watched podcast this morning. I'm sure you watched it too. Joe Rogan had a medical detective on his show, and he thinks that the cure is like long out, and they're nowhere near looking for a cure. So I think there's like debate on that, and like if they think they found a cure, that's great. But I think that like there's this like mob mentality, and I don't understand it. Like, so we have like the Ebola. I was looking at like statistics, right? Because I'm like trying to figure out a way to convince my mom to let me get a Midwestern at this point.
Right.
So I'm looking at statistics. If you look at like Ebola that happened under the Obama administration, so many more people died. And yeah, there was like concern, there was public concern, and there was, I would say, like a little bit of public panic, but nowhere near what there is for coronavirus. And like, I can't even remember, like, it was a huge number of people who contracted it and died, but nobody really talked about it. But like 2 people die here, and all of a sudden everyone goes crazy. And people don't understand.
It's one thing that it's really interesting, and you start to think about, where was the outrage when Ebola was around? Where was the outrage when the swine flu was around?
Yeah. Well, and I think there was some talk about the swine flu, right? But it was not something that people weren't rushing to the. So I saw a clip of an Italian man who is complaining. He was like, "There's no pasta on the shelves." He said people weren't this panicked during World War II. Like,
there is no pasta on the shelves.
He's like, people were not this worried or concerned when they found out, when World War II broke out. Like,
the pasta.
And he's like saying this in Italian, and it's like, it's so true though. People are like rushing to the stores. They literally think the zombie apocalypse is happening, and I'm like, guys, we're fine. This is what you don't do. This is the kind of behavior that you don't exhibit. Don't be the guy who got on a plane after being tested and having not gotten the results back, and then finding out while he was on the plane that he'd gotten coronavirus. Like, you don't do that. That's
selfish. I saw a report today about that. Every single person with corona has a sudden urge to travel. It's so funny. And
Don't be the girl in Tennessee who broke quarantine while she has the coronavirus. Just don't be that person. Like,
it's so funny.
If you're not sick, and my mom is convinced, she's like, okay, so backstory here. My mom got home a couple of weeks after coronavirus was announced. So like I heard it first from her because like Chinese people heard about it first before it got to America. And so like she was there for I guess 2 to 3 weeks before they she got back maybe a week or 2 weeks before they shut everything down. So, and she was in a city right next to Wuhan. So and I'm like, Mom, you went through airports, you flew planes home, you were fine. And she was like, yeah, but I had a mask. I was constantly washing my hands. I had hand sanitizer. And I said, exactly. If we just had good health rules where we wash our hands constantly and we follow all the protocols of having hand sanitizer, making sure the hand sanitizer is not bacterial, not antibacterial hand sanitizer, because the virus is not a bacteria, but making sure it's like alcohol, and we're washing our hands, we're washing our face, we're taking showers, we're making sure we're healthy. There's not much to worry about, and I don't think there should be this panic of like, oh my goodness, like, okay, so I'm not going to encourage anybody to fly. I don't think that's good because it's, close space. And I mean, I'm mostly ranting here because I can't go to Chicago and I really wanted to go to Chicago. But
I'm sorry for your loss there. Like, who wants to go to Chicago though? Who really wants to go to Chicago? Like, let's be honest here. Who really wants to go to Chicago? No one wants to go to Chicago.
Okay, that's true, but Ali Stuckey was going, and I love Ali Stuckey.
Ali Stuckey is going. And I know you love Ali Stuckey.
Lance was going to be there.
Who? Lance Videos?
No,
Lance Videos is going to be at. Oh my!
I said Jaco Boyens.
I love Jaco though.
Jaco Boyens.
I absolutely love that man.
I was actually, so the plan was, original plan was I was supposed to drive all the way there by myself because we were going to have school in session, but then school dropped out, or canceled out. So I was actually going to drive to Ohio and then ride the rest of the way with Joel and some other people. But yeah, so now I can't. So I'm not really disappointed. But I don't know. I just think it's really like I'm irritated that there's like this outrage over this virus that it can be deadly, but if you're healthy, then it's not.
You know what kills corona? You know what does?
I feel like you're about to make it really.
Alcohol kills coronavirus.
So drink up, everybody.
There you go. I'm fighting the Wuhan virus as we speak, people. I'm fighting it right now. Look at that.
So
Bud Light seltzer. Bud Light sponsor me right now.
And like the whole thing about like China covering up stuff, I don't want to get into like conspiracy and say that everything China government was doing is like purposeful to like, destroy the world, which is what some people are doing. But there's definitely an agenda. There's definitely control.
It's totally an agenda. I mean, you have idiots like AOC calling Trump racist for calling it a foreign virus, a China virus. You have people are calling Trump racist for closing the damn borders because of a virus.
Yeah, and it's funny because
at the same time, they're criticizing him. They're criticizing him because he's not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's so funny. Like, what were you going to do? The only semi-logical person that I've heard on this is Tulsi Gabbard. She's the only semi-logical Democrat who's like talked about this. And she actually agreed with Trump. She was calling for it before Trump was. She was like, I think Trump should be closing the borders right now and making sure that we're safe. And I also agree with her. And she's saying like, there should be a way to like, there should be free testing for everybody. I do agree with that.
There is free testing.
Not only California has it, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's national.
Is it now?
It's national now.
Okay, last I heard it wasn't, but yeah.
Yep,
and
they made it national.
I don't know. I just think that like, okay. Also, there are experts. There are like medical experts now saying that closing schools was the wrong thing because that because children don't usually like transmit it super well, and also if you're sending them with their parents, like they're more likely to give it to their parents just like staying at home than they are if they were, you know, at school, like, you know, with a nurse on staff. And, you know, I don't know, but they're saying that closing the schools was the wrong thing. Even the guy on Joe Rogan's podcast said that.
No, yeah, no. It's
I just think it's
a
a
lot
huge
of
overreaction. We should be concerned. Like, I don't think we should downplay it. Like, it really pissed me off when a certain YouTuber, who I don't want to name because, like, I don't want to give him a platform, but made a video mocking the coronavirus. Like, I don't think we should mock it. I don't think we should downplay it. It definitely is serious for those who get it. It's painful. It's basically pneumonia and the flu combined, and we already know how bad the flu is. So it is like it is a bad thing, and it should be taken with concern. But the fact that our entire nation is going completely nuts, like, I don't know if you just saw, but Donald Trump has now quarantined himself because he shook hands with the Brazilian guy,
and the president should. It's one of those things where, you know, you have the media is. I think I blame the media for a lot of this right now when it comes to you know, everything that's been going on, the craziness and everything. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and call out the media as so I wanted to do that for so long.
I could see the smile on your face. I was like, what is he about to do? You have to hold it close to your microphone.
Fake news.
Fake news. It's fake news.
Are you on Audie's page where he's doing the fake news call out now?
No, I did not know about that on Audie's page. Yep. But we're gonna bring in another guest here. We have Cody waiting. Yeah, Cody from UCF.
Oh, I think I know him.
He's doing this a little bit. Is he
blonde?
Yeah, he's a blonde guy.
Yeah, I know Cody.
He's a handsome guy. Let's bring Cody in for a minute. I want to. Oh my God! Look at this guy.
Hey, Cody.
What is up, my friends? How's it going?
It's going, man.
Good to see all your shining, beautiful faces on this beautiful Thursday night. 1 second. Let me get this door closed.
Are you quarantined?
I don't want any audio interference. Am I quarantined?
You know, I thought about quarantine. I thought about being like, Mom, fine, I'll quarantine myself for 2 weeks when I come back. Like, I was like that determined to like go to Chicago.
Yeah. Listen.
Cody's leaving tomorrow for South Carolina. Yeah.
Are you going to Southeast
South
Regional?
Carolina? What?
Nah. I thought you were going to Southeast Regional. I can't talk. Southeast Regional.
You drunk?
No, I don't think I'm going. I do not think I'm going. I wish I was.
Wow, it's
unfortunate.
It's fine. I'm not in South Carolina.
I'm a little bit.
Josh is not lagging anymore.
Awesome. There's a really bad echo with Josh.
There's an echo?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I'm just going to mute Josh while I talk, and then I'll mute myself when Josh talks. How about that? Cody, you're black. Not like African-American black. You're just like your screen's black.
Oh, y'all, I did the funniest thing. Okay, so when I was at CPAC, I just have to tell the story real quick. It wasn't like super funny. It was just funny because like people didn't know who I was. So like I'm walking on Media Row, and I'm walking towards the elevator, and there are these like three boys trying to take a picture with Joel Patrick. And so
Are we back? I think I'm back.
I did what Joe does. And I like.
You said someone was trying to take a photo with Joel Patrick. That's so funny.
No. So I go up and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that Joel Patrick? And so anyway.
Oh my gosh, Joel Patrick, do you know you're black?
So he's like, can you take a picture? I was like, sure.
God,
but like they're in the light.
Bad, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not doing very well in terms of getting back up on here.
Cody, how about you go on your laptop instead, and then try to join in through your laptop.
All right.
So let me get you off the stream real quick so you can join your laptop and come back in. All right.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay. So basically, he asked me to take a picture. They're in the light, so I told him, I was like, "Hey, can y'all turn around? Because so the light is like facing you." And so as I turn around, I was like, "I'm sorry, Joel. You're just too black. I can't see you."
Oh my God.
And he goes, That would be so racist if you weren't Asian.
All right, he's back. He's back. Are you lagging still or now?
Nah, I think we're doing good now.
Hey, the audio's
outstanding.
getting better too.
What is your stance on Corona?
Wuhan.
God, I don't know. UCF just shut down. I don't know if you saw it. UCF shut down and they went to all online classes.
Over a beer?
Yeah, I know, right? One that
Dude,
a beer that came
wow.
from China too. I mean, come on.
You know, Cody, on this show, we don't call it Corona. We call it
Wuhan.
Wuhan virus.
Wuhan.
Oh, wait, I thought we were. I thought that's problematic.
No.
You have to pronounce it the Chinese way. You have to pronounce it the Chinese way.
We are calling it the Wuhan virus because that's exactly where it's from. And we're going to blame Chairman Xi and the Chinese government
But you
for
have to call it.
what they've
You have
done.
to pronounce it right. You have to pronounce it with the Chinese.
What am I saying wrong?
Accent.
Wuhan? Like
You have to say Wuhan.
Wuhan?
I'm not gonna. Try
I'm not
that.
Chinese. I'm not Chinese.
I'm not trying that one.
Josh is kind of Chinese.
I mean, okay, whatever you say.
Josh is Asian
There you
from
go.
Uzbekistan.
Oh man, the regional conference is.
Josh is a communist from Uzbekistan.
Yes,
Ah,
I embrace
yeah.
my communist roots.
It's okay. I'm proud of my Soviet roots. No, I'm not Russian.
You're proud of your German roots too, right, Joe?
What?
You're proud of your German roots too, right?
Oh no, I cannot be German if I'm a Jew as well.
You can't
Remember
be
that
German.
from our
No,
good
I'm
old
German,
friend
right?
Colby.
You do know I'm German, right?
No, you're not.
Yeah, no, you're German too.
I
Wow.
am.
I could
I
really.
actually
tell.
am.
I could
My
really tell.
ancestors came over from Germany to Pennsylvania, and they had the name Meckendorfer. And then as they like settled in
Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania,
That's
yeah.
German.
they were around a lot of Irish people, and like I don't know how it evolved, but it basically evolved into an Irish name, McIntyre, and then eventually got to McInturf.
Are you playing? Who's playing audio?
Sorry,
That's what
I had to mute. something.
Cody.
I was watching Crowder's live stream. When you
Oh,
told-
you're watching our competitor right now. That's beating us by far.
yeah, I don't know about much of a competitor. I think you guys are in different leagues, but
You're a traitor. You're a fake and a fraud.
you're fake and a fraud.
Oh my
You're
goodness!
Fake news.
Speaking-
You are. Hold on. You are.
Come on. You are fake news. Okay, you're fake. You're fake news.
You're fake news. Okay.
Fake news.
Fake
Great
news.
bud.
Can we just talk about how Joe? I think you guys were talking. Were you guys talking about this earlier? How like Joe Biden, like, told his some constituent that he was full of shit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was
so
gold. That was gold.
You're full of shit, and he tells him to shush.
Yeah, I
he
think
shushes
people-
a staffer, a female staffer, by the way. So now
He's
Joe
like-
Biden is a sexist bigot.
misogyny. Yep.
And then he tells this union worker, he threatens to slap him, and he says, "You want to go outside, bro?" Like,
He's unhinged.
you're unhinged, absolutely unhinged.
Unhinged is the right word.
It's like, can you not ask a very simple question
So
to a candidate run for president? Can you just not do it anymore?
So to those who are like watching, you'll just have to like excuse the French, but like I saw a meme that was like it had Joe Biden's face and then it had Bernie Sanders' face, and it said Mr. Free Shit and then Mr. I don't know shit.
I
I
tell
was
you,
like,
Joe Biden, I mean, look, he's got to get it together at some point. Whether it's stopping his, luckily, I think coronavirus is the best thing to happen to Joe Biden because he's going to have to cancel all of his public appearances.
Yeah, that means he has to stop talking.
Win the nomination.
He's gonna stop talking all of a
you know,
sudden.
I'm gonna be honest. I have a lot of sympathy for the man. I feel really bad for him, and I wish he would just like retire and go enjoy the rest of his life. Because it's not fun when somebody either realizes or doesn't want to realize that they have dementia. I mean, it's hard to like realize that you're losing your capacities to think.
Joe Biden puts the dem in dementia.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
Here,
it truly is really. I mean, it's like you said, Daniel. It's something you hate to
I'll
see.
be right back. I forgot my charger. I got my charger for my MacBook, but go ahead and continue the show. You guys are now the host of Cup of Joe.
All right, awesome. Here we are. But yeah, it is really saddening to see because I do think Joe Biden is a genuine guy, and maybe other people don't agree with me. Like, obviously, I don't agree with Joe Biden on politics at all, but he's definitely someone who I think is a genuine person and a human being who actually does want to do good for America, unlike Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie Sanders wants to destroy everything that America is, whereas Joe Biden and I just disagree on politics. And
well, I just want to interject. My opinion on Joe Biden, it's more. I guess we can maybe respectfully disagree. I don't think Joe Biden hates America or wants to really necessarily even change America. He just cares about himself. He just wants to promote himself, which is most Democrats, to be honest. But then there is that segment of people on the left, like Bernie Sanders, that actually want to radically transform America. And I don't think, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the reasoning is for either of the types of candidates. We just have to acknowledge that both of them would not be good for neither of them would be good for the country. And we just have to do everything in our power to avoid them from taking power. It's the challenge of our generation. Socialism is at the doorstep. It's up to us to let it in or kick it out.
Hey guys, I just had an update. One of my somebody just DM'd me on Instagram.
Danielle's from a socialist country.
Oh no, she's the enemy.
Communist and socialist. Oh, funny story, by the way. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys about this update, but funny story real quick. So I was at Trump Hotel during CPAC, and they wouldn't let Bryson Gray in. And I don't know why they weren't going to let him in, but they weren't going to let him in. I think because he came later. And they finally let him in, but they said you couldn't wear your big MAGA hat when you go in. And so instead they gave him like this Russian fur hat or whatever. And so we took a picture, and I was like, we're both communists now because he's got the Russian hat and I'm Chinese. And so we posted it. No, but I just got a DM from somebody who said that he had a lady go through his register today and bought $1,000 worth of groceries.
Wow. That's insane.
Okay, now we're getting to the point.
It's not that big of a deal.
Look, if you really think you're going to end up not having a local grocery store, or you're going to run out of toilet paper, or not going to have water in the tap, that's ridiculous. You're on something else.
You're dead wrong.
You're freaking out. Look, a lot of people are not going to have a lot of fun with coronavirus, and it's possible that a lot of people could get it, but the last thing you want to do is set everyone into a panic like that. And people are falling for it. I'm saying, everyone's going to be a hypochondriac about it, and they're going to be just way too cautious. But
look, I'm not going to lie. The rise of coronavirus has made me want to travel more because plane tickets are cheap.
Oh, there's one of my friends is booked.
Literally, it's $49 to fly to Chicago right now.
I want to go to China.
Yo, if you wanted to come to Orlando,
that's not going to cost anything.
Or this coming weekend, not this weekend, but the one after that, you could fly from Atlanta to Orlando for $37.
Yeah, I'm gonna check the flights right now.
That's ridiculous. Arizona to Orlando is probably not a lie. If you want to fly next weekend, it's so cheap.
I wonder what it's like from Tennessee to
MCO.
Of course, my mom wouldn't let me because my mom would be like, no. Literally, when my friend from Chattanooga, he goes, my friend from Chattanooga, he's like, hey, let's take a road trip and let's go to DC or something tomorrow, next week, because we can. Joe?
They're so cheap. I know, look at them.
They're so damn cheap.
Okay, I don't know what the echo is or what there's a weird I don't know, delay or something.
It's not there anymore now.
Oh, I think Josh dipped.
No, Josh muted his mic.
Oh.
Josh, you turn your camera off. He says, I know. He's stretching a little bit. He's doing his daily yoga he forgot to do.
Yeah, yoga is always good. Let's see, what is this episode called? The World is Ending? It is ending. Yes.
So, flights to... Oh, my God. That's insane.
How much is Phoenix to MCO next weekend?
It's still
$152.
It's still expensive from Tennessee to Orlando.
Last time I flew to Orlando, the flight was $300.
Oh my God!
It is half the price now.
No, yo! Listen. I'm gonna blow your mind right now. Saturday, March 28th to Saturday, April 4th. If you wanted to fly from New York City to LA, $87.
Wow.
87 from
New York. From New York to LA.
New York to LA, $87 round trip.
That's freaking insane.
It's crazy.
Let me see how
Did you say round trip?
Round trip, $87. It's
I
something
don't know
else.
why flights from Tennessee are still kind of expensive. I mean, to Chicago, so like going to Chicago was like $49, and then coming back it was still like $200.
Okay, I'm trying to go to Alaska.
Let's just see if I want to go on a whim to South Carolina.
Cody, you should come to Tennessee and hang out with us next week.
Oh yeah.
Armando says, here's a really good pickup line from Armando Martinez here. If Coronas can't take you out, then can I?
So I have this friend named Alexander, and he has spent like 5 years collecting pickup lines, and he just goes around and he like uses the pickup lines.
That's the way to do it.
He went up to Tommy Lahren at Politicon, and he said something like, he was like, I didn't know Angel still existed until I met you, or something like that.
Oh my god.
What a legend.
What a legend.
Hey, if you have the balls to go up to Tommy Lahren and give any sort of pickup line, I'll give him a props.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call Lance real quick.
Oh yeah. My son.
I will say this: I had the most fun with Lance and Audie in DC.
Yes, Mr. Joe.
Hey, Lance.
Yeah.
When are you gonna come on the stream, bro?
What you cut out once? What'd you say?
When are you gonna come on the stream?
Should I come on the stream?
Yeah, dude. Your phone call's right now live. You should just join in.
The squad here, yeah, come on.
What's up, homies? How many people are on?
I don't know.
1 million?
Yeah, dude, like 3 million people.
On there?
Yeah, there's at least
Lance is the kind of guy that goes up to you and is like, "Hey, I have 12,000 followers."
Lance, you need to hurry your ass up and get over here.
What are you talking about on your stream?
We're talking about you.
No, you're not.
Yeah, dude, we're talking shit about you. We're saying that your Trump impression is so bad.
Quite honestly, it is, and you're right.
Quite honestly, I'll tell you what, okay?
Joe, I'm sorry. Yours is worse than mine.
CPAC replay.
Lance Videos, since your last name is Videos, I'm going to call you by your full name. Lance Videos, you need to get on here right now.
Oh my gosh, you're like my mom.
Get on here right now. I'm telling you.
All right, well.
We have 2 of your fans. You're off. This kid just hung up on me. Are you
I
serious?
am like Lance's older sister, okay? I kept that group like.
I am Lance's father, okay? I am his father.
Are we married now?
I'm a single father. I'm a single dad.
Wait, Danielle said older sister and Joe said father.
I did. I thought
That means I'm your father.
The math works out.
Joe is my dad too, but that's weird.
Connor.
Cassidy is my dad.
Who?
Cassidy.
Connor?
Connor's trying to join in, but he's on his phone. Let's just bring him in. Hi, Connor.
What's up, Joe? How you doing?
What's up, man? Rick, welcome to the show. Connor is an old classmate of mine from college at Kutztown University, the beautiful campus of Kutztown University of Pennsylvania. Don't go there for college because it's a waste of money and time. But here's Connor. He is home right now.
I am currently at home. We are on spring break and soon to have the campus shut down due to the coronavirus.
Insane.
Hey,
and by the way, Connor, we do not call it coronavirus here. We call it the Wuhan virus or the China virus.
Excuse me, but that's xenophobic, so.
Okay. We're going to go and use that.
I approve of the name.
No,
yeah, we have our token Asian here to say it's okay.
No,
it's token Asian. Yeah, there you go. By the way, Josh is on the floor right now sleeping.
Hey guys, by the way, what do you guys think of what do you guys think? I thought about starting a group called Asians for Trump. Does that exist already?
It probably does, but you should definitely do it if it doesn't exist. Maybe you could do Chinese for Trump.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Danielle, as an Asian American, how do you feel about China?
You know, I had a really interesting conversation with a Nick Fuentes fan about this, actually.
Oh boy, Graper alert!
Facade
check. What's that? Were you based? Danielle, are you based?
Not Nick Fuentes based. I'm not.
Oh, you're a grifter, eh?
So, yeah. So Okay, so I'm actually going to ask you to clarify your question a little bit. When you say how do you feel about China, tell me what you mean when you say
as an Asian American, right? You were born in China, right?
I was born here actually, and
Wow.
I'm actually
I grew up in China. You at some point in your life you were in China, right?
I did live in China for a year, yeah. And
you lived in China for quite some time. Okay, what are your thoughts? I mean, you told us a little bit earlier about the unsanitary issues happening in China when it comes to drawing out blood. That they're using the same. You said razor. They're not even using a needle. They're using a razor.
Yeah, it's like this little bitty razor that they would just
little
like
razor. Yeah, to draw blood, and what they do is they get it like a freaking Clorox wipe, and they just and okay, next person, right?
Oh
so that's disgusting, right? We know that it's unhealthy, it's unsanitary. How should Americans react towards China? Because we live in a society right now where China owns everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything we own is in China. The table I'm on right now is made in China. The MacBook, a lot of it's made in China. We rely on China for a lot of things. How should someone in America truly react to China and what they're doing today? Because a lot of people don't really know much about Chairman Xi.
Yeah, so Chinese people are calling Chairman Xi worse than Chairman Mao, actually. The difference is just the time that he's living in. So one of the things that I think is interesting going on in China right now is that when Chairman Mao came to power, it was really easy for him to manipulate and control people because they didn't have internet. They were cut off from the West anyways, pretty much. And so it was really easy for him to say, this is the way it's going to be. Now it's a little bit different because people have the internet. People have seen the West. They have the influence. They have some influences from the West, such as media. Media is huge. American media is huge in China. You go there, and if you're an American in China, like people will be like, do you watch the Avengers? Do you watch the Big Bang? Like they watch a lot of American media, but the other part of that is that unlike Americans, Chinese don't see a problem and then say we're going to fix the problem because we're patriots and we're determined and this is the way it's going to be. They say, well, we can't do anything about it because we're not strong enough to beat the government, and they aren't because they have no weapons and they don't want to repeat 1989 again, and so they just end up doing nothing. And the other part of that is because of propaganda. A lot of Chinese people don't really, there used to be, when I lived there for that year that I did, the attitude of so many Chinese students was like, oh my goodness, I would give anything to go to America. I would do anything to be able to visit at least. But now the attitude is, America's not great. Why would I want to go there? There's no reason for me to go there. And so it's kind of this interesting dynamic of both. They're not really happy with what the government is doing, but they don't really want to do anything about it. They're kind of more just like, well, oh, well, and then they don't really have a desire for America. So as an American, because I'm half Chinese, half American, and I'm proud of my Chinese heritage. I'm so thankful that I get to.
No, you're 100% American, Danielle. 100%
American.
Yeah, but I'm 100% American. Like, I grew up here. I love my country. My loyalty is to my country. I mean, my mom's loyalty is to this country. And so when I feel like, and I think there was a lot of controversy over Trump's like trade decisions with China and stuff, but like, and I didn't want to actually, and a reporter asked me about this, and I don't want to comment on it like as an expert, but I do think that like we could do more to encourage like Americans to produce things here, and like it's cheaper to do it over in China. That's why people do it. But if we can create incentives, which I think Trump has been good about in some ways, but if we can create more incentives for people to produce here, to make their own things here, and not allow China to do what they're doing. So there's two attitudes towards China. You guys all know this. One approach is to say, okay, if we can have a better relationship with them economically, politically, then we can use our influence later on to affect change, right? The other approach is to say, no, we're not going to even try to build a relationship until that change has been brought about. Here's the fact about the Chinese government. The Chinese government always will be, always has been, an ideological enemy of America. They will always try to usurp American, I guess, authority. They will always try to. They're always going to try to, in some way, shape, or form, conquer the world. That is the mentality. That's the communist government. That's the Communist Party. That is the way it is.
Well,
So,
yeah,
for sure.
They've been manipulative for how many years now?
So
Right.
I want to. I think what you said was really important. Being someone that actually lived in the mainland for so long, and the reason why I'm saying mainland is because we have Hong Kong and Taiwan that people like to neglect a lot, that are technically China, especially Taiwan, which a lot of people tend to neglect more so than Hong Kong. But we're going to bring in an old friend of mine if his camera starts working soon. Miles Burt here. He's going to be coming in right now. He's on his phone, so it might be a little wonky, but here comes Burt here. What's up, Burt?
Yo, what's up?
We want to know, Burt, what is your entire view on China and the Wuhan virus that's spreading around the country right now? Tell us your conspiracy theories. Tell us everything.
I mean, I don't know if the Chinese government did it on purpose, but they're definitely not telling us everything that's going on. So
I mean, I feel that.
Definitely report more on what's going on with the virus, because at first I thought the virus was a complete joke until I got to was it Italy, and then it started getting a little bit more serious. So
yeah, I mean, you have a lot of really interesting theories out there regarding the Wuhan virus, in a sense that Wuhan is one of the main laboratories for bio weapons for China, and that's where it was released the first time, was in Wuhan, China. So you have a lot of really interesting things that are happening right now regarding the Wuhan virus, but this isn't everything. That's the thing. A lot of people, I watch Fox News every single day, and I pay attention to the news a lot. Every time I'm on Twitter, I go on Fox, I go on the news app on my iPhone, it's Corona. That's all it is. It's all about the Wuhan virus. Which, by the way, and Bert, I don't know if you know this, but we call on the show the coronavirus the Wuhan virus, because that's exactly what it should be.
So, okay, I just got word from someone. Probably one of my favorite names for the virus so far that I've seen is Boomer Remover.
Boomer Remover.
Yeah, Boomer Remover is sounded pretty good. So.
That's pretty funny. It's kind of dark, but I like it. It's kind of dark. It's dark, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, someone just sent me a Snapchat video. They said that people were calling it the Boomer Remover, so I figured I'd throw that one.
It's only really, truly, truly affecting people that are of older age,
Sure.
as well as very young age. So we have to.
I don't think it's affecting.
Precautions on this.
I don't think it's affecting anybody at a young age.
It is. So there are. It's people with low or weak, rather, immune systems, which are older people and younger people. Now, young kids are less likely to get the Wuhan virus because, one, I mean, school's canceled, right? And the parents, they're parenting, so they're not allowing those kids to go out and go to school, go to events and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, like Danielle here, her mother is not allowing her to go to and travel. So it's one of those things where you have to understand that it's not affecting a lot of kids right now, but kids are at risk just as much as boomers are, right? As older individuals are, because they have just as much of a weak immune system as older people. So this is something that we need to really, really focus on, is how do we protect the young kids, the next generation of Americans, and how do we protect the older generation of Americans from this virus that, to be quite frank with you,
healthy. You know what else was killing people? You know what else was killing people who had the coronavirus? Freaking obesity.
Yeah, obesity is killing people at a faster rate than corona. And
no. But I mean, people are at a higher risk if they're obese.
Let's be honest here. You have a higher chance right now of being killed by Hillary Clinton than you do of dying of coronavirus right now.
That's true.
It's kind of hilarious, but it's true, and it's kind of a sad truth right here, because you're talking about a virus that is being.
My sister thinks we're idiots.
blown out of proportion right now on the media. They're calling the president racist for calling it for what it really is, which is the Wuhan virus. President Trump closes the border with China, closes the border with Italy, closes the border with all of Europe right now for the next 30 days. And he's called racist for doing something. Yet at the same time, they're telling the president that he's not doing anything about it. It's such a hypocrisy today. What does this mean?
Can you guys see this?
No, it's blurry.
Dang it.
Bring your brightness down.
What?
Bring your brightness down.
Oh, wait, on my computer or my phone?
On your phone.
Hold on. Let's see if it's kind of hard to see it.
What does it say?
It says, the top says millennials embracing death, and then the coronavirus is like over here. And then the middle one says boomers dying from the coronavirus. Or I could just do this. And then the bottom one says millennials surviving.
It's so funny because you have a lot of like dark boomer, not boomer, sorry, dark like millennial and Zoomer memes. They're all about like suicide and shit, and and all of a sudden this coronavirus is not hitting them whatsoever. But hey, Bert, I think a lot of our cadets from our Squadron 40 want to come on.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's try to get them on real quick. Get
I
on.
think I'm actually gonna dip out, y'all.
I can take a couple minutes if you want.
But
what do you say?
I can dip out for a couple minutes if you want.
Well, this is when they join in, which I don't know if they're going to be joining in or not. Miles Burt is now black, but it's okay. Not African American, but just black.
Well, I'm going to actually dip out here because.
All right, Danielle. Thank you for joining us with your China report. Much appreciated.
Take care. I'll be in touch.
Take care.
All right.
Thank you, Danielle. Bye. Yeah. All right, we're going to bring in Tim Jackson here. Timothy Jackson.
What's up?
How are you, sir? Can you hear me?
I can't hear like anyone.
You can't hear anyone. Oh, that's something on your side that's screwed up because Cody can't hear me. Look at the shirt he's wearing. Where'd you get that shirt, Tim?
I don't think he can hear you.
Yeah, I think
he can hear me.
Problems.
Something screwed up on your side, buddy. I mean, I'll tell you what, where he got that shirt. He got that shirt on Etsy.com/cupofjoe. That's where he got the shirt. I'm going to put it right now. Etsy.com/cupofjoe. That's where he got the shirt. Etsy.com/cupofjoe. Definitely check it out. Grab your shirt right now. Sorry, what?
The page does not exist.
Okay, never mind about that. I'm gonna delete the comment.
I'm gonna look it up too. I'll find your link.
Etsy.com. Let me go find it real quick because I'm confused as hell right now. Because I'm pretty sure that was it. Maybe it's you know what? It's not that. I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot. It's like Etsy.com/cupofjoe podcast or something like that. But guys, you're on the stream. Go ahead, share it right now on your Facebook. Let's get people on this. We don't have a lot of people watching right now. Let's get a lot of people. We got to talk about something important, and what that is not Corona, because Corona is not important. It's overblown by the media. But what's important is we have the economy is getting absolutely screwed over by this Corona BS virus, this Wuhan virus that is definitely something planned by the Chinese, not to be an Alex Jones or anything, but it's definitely being planned by the Chinese. And I knew this was going to happen. If you actually read back in a book, I got to find this book real quick because and I want to read you guys something. I think it's really, really interesting here. Very, very mind-blowing because I saw it today, and I'll be honest, my mind was absolutely blown. Who was it? Yael Gluck. She posted about it. She actually posted photos from the book. So it's a book written in 1981 by a guy named Dean. Let me go ahead and actually do this real quick. A guy named Dean Koontz, or whatever his name is. The book's called The Eyes of Darkness. And what it says right here in page 312 is, in around 2020, the year 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs The bronchital. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, guys. I don't know how to say it completely.
Not a doctor either.
Tubes and resisting all known treatments. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish years later and then disappear completely. To another page, it says, it will actually come from Wuhan, China.
Oh my God.
This is what's insane, right? Let me bring you guys back on the stream here. It will come from Wuhan, China. Developed from their rDNA labs outside the city of Wuhan.
Hold on, run this back. Okay, so where are you saying this was from?
This is from a book written in 1981. Written in 1981 called The Eyes of Darkness.
I'm
right?
going to look at this.
In this book, it says, at around 2020, there'll be a severe pneumonia-like illness spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and bronchial tubes. And it'll vanish just a couple of years later, right? Isn't this insane, right? We go to another page in the book, and it says, they will call it the Wuhan 400, which, okay, the book got one thing wrong. Whatever.
Okay, it also said it was going to have a kill rate of 100%. So I think it's kind of struck out on there, but.
Well, no, it doesn't say on here. What are you talking about, Cody? You listening to anybody? What it says here.
It says Wuhan 400 is described as having a kill rate of 100% developed in labs outside the city as the perfect biological weapon, according to The Guardian, as a review from.
Oh, that's The Guardian. I'm reading directly from the book right now on my phone here. Listen here. They'll call it the Wuhan 400 because it was developed at their rDNA labs outside the city of Wuhan in China. And it was the 400th viable strain of man-made microorganisms created at that research center.
That's pretty crazy. They predicted something
Published
like that.
in 1981. I was not born in no one in this stream was born in 1981. And this guy Dean,
some crazy prediction.
He goes in and predicts the fact that specifically in Wuhan there will be a virus that attacks the lungs. A pneumonia-like virus, which is what they're predicting, what they're describing the China virus, this Wuhan virus to be just like, and it will affect the world, the globe completely. That's what it's doing right now. And now I'm not being a conspiracy theorist or anything, but this is from a book written in 1981. This is kind of mind blowing, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah,
kind of mind blowing.
I don't think that, obviously, I think I speak for hopefully everyone here. I mean, obviously, we all like our conspiracy theories, but I'm certain that this virus was not developed in a lab. We've had different strains of coronavirus before. This isn't just something that is some random virus that has come out of nowhere. There's actually been strains of a virus called coronavirus before. If you look on a normal, like one of those little like things of Lysol, like the Lysol wipes, you'll actually see on the bottom one of the things that it says is prevents is a strain of coronavirus. So obviously, I think it's fun that we lend ourselves to some conspiracy theories. But obviously, it's crazy that someone would predict something like the Wuhan virus.
I would have to agree with Cody on the fact that it was not a genetic mutated type of disease, because one, it was an early theory at the end of January that was started to start like a social media phenomenon about how it was like genetically mutated in a lab, and somebody in the lab contracted it and was given off. I actually read a report earlier today that the evidence that suggests the pathogen can come from wild animals, according to a virologist. So I don't think that the genome pathogen has any type of significance to a lab leak or anything of that sort.
So it's really interesting you say that, Connor, because it is actually proven. Both Connor and Cody, it is proven that this was actually made in a laboratory in Wuhan. And by the way, you did mention about coronavirus being on the bottle of Lysol spray, right? And you're right. Coronavirus is not the name of the actual virus we're talking about. We're talking about COVID-19, which is a type of coronavirus. Is just think about it as if it is a department with subdepartments, right? So coronavirus is the name of the department. In subdepartments, you have COVID-19, right? Is one of the subdepartments. It's a type of strain from a coronavirus. This specific strain was created in a lab in Wuhan. That's a fact. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not some Alex Jones BS.
Okay,
I
haven't seen any evidence for that. So
yeah,
I will send you a link right now saying that.
Go for it, because I'm not going to refute that without any evidence. But
and I totally respect that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Every time I put, oh god. Google is totally screwed up right now.
I found some random article coming from some irrelevant web source. Doesn't look like it's very accurate, but something saying a Taiwanese scientist has claimed Chinese microbiologists probably created coronavirus in Wuhan, China, because of its unusual.
There's going to be a lot of conspiracy theories about this, and that's the thing, because it is affecting the globe right now. It's affecting the country, and what we need to really understand here is the fact that this did originate from China. This is affecting the economy tremendously. And I think a bigger threat than health right now, when talking about the COVID-19 virus, the Wuhan virus, is the economy, not so much the health threat regarding this. As the economy is tanking right now because of this one virus originating from China, and I think that was the main purpose of this. And I mean, Cody, you can believe what you want to believe. I'll send you a link in a later time regarding this, but This was created, I believe, in the intent of destroying the American economy. And there's a very, very big similarity between the Democratic Party, the Democrats, and the China Communist Party that's currently in control of China and will be for a very long time and has been for a very long time. And that is that they hate Donald Trump, they hate America, and they hate the fact that America is becoming a very successful country, that America is made great again, and we're keeping it great. And this is a huge, huge thing. It's very effective. It's very, very effective. I mean, I want to get out, but I do want to get the perspective from Tim and Miles here. Tim, Tim, can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay, perfect. So Tim, first off, before we go into your perspective on Corona, or what we call in the show, we don't call it Corona, we call it the Wuhan virus. Tim, where'd you get that shirt?
From your website.
From my website, from Etsy, on the Cup of Joe podcast website. You got to go on there and buy your anti-socialist social club. There's a lot of people stealing my shirt, people. There's a lot of people. Not to name anyone, but there's a lot of people stealing my idea, and we need to fight against them. You have to buy from my website. You know what? I'll do a sale this next weekend of all my merch. We have actually a brand new shirt right now, which is Keep America Great. It's a pattern. It just goes on and on and on. It says Keep America Great on it. It looks like one of those thank you shopping bags that you get at small stores. It says Keep America Great. Tim, what is your theory? What are your thoughts regarding the Wuhan virus? Go ahead.
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's nothing more than a common flu. Really, I mean, I definitely think it's more contagious. But really, I think it's way overhyped.
And who do you think is responsible for this overhypeness of the Wuhan virus?
I mean, like you said, China wants our economy to go down. Ultimately, if our economy goes down, they see Donald Trump losing, and so even the Democrats really. I mean, that's just my personal.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it as the media. I definitely
The
see it.
media wants
This
to
is being overhyped.
They see this as a way to get him out of office. They want him out of office.
I think it also lends itself to the normal kind of media bias point of not just necessarily against Trump, but when something like this breaks out, it gets 24/7 media coverage. If the flu, this point has been made from a lot of different people, is that if the flu was being covered 24/7, just like COVID-19 is, then everyone would be freaking about the flu 24/7. And whenever it's flu season, then everyone's going to get freaked out just as much as they are now. So I think if you saw a lot less coverage of coronavirus, I think you'd have a lot less panic set in. But it is something that I think we need to take more seriously than the flu. Obviously, I'm not trying to equate the two necessarily. But
and what's really interesting regarding this is, and I think a really huge benefit, I said this earlier in the show, which was the fact that people are actually becoming a lot more healthy because of this virus. They're actually seeing the effects of it. They're using hand sanitizer. They're wiping down counters with Lysol wipes and antibacterial wipes. They're actually taking care of themselves. Things that we were taught back in preschool and kindergarten, they're actually put into effect today, which I think is really interesting because for so long, people just didn't care, right? People just didn't care about the cleanliness. They didn't care about staying healthy. And now people are so paranoid. It took one virus from China to actually create a difference in American society when it comes to becoming a lot cleaner, being more aware about viruses. And it's not only about the Wuhan virus and the China virus. It's about, the cold, the flu, and a lot of other viruses. Just be safe out there. Wash your hands more often than you already do, which a lot of people just don't even wash their hands. And wipe down your counters, stay clean, be productive as a healthy human being to prevent viruses from even happening, prevent any illness from actually happening. So, Miles, not to cut you off, Connor, what would you have to say?
What surprises me with this virus is this shortage of certain household products that honestly make no sense why there would be a shortage. Like these extreme lines and empty shelves of toilet paper of all things, is kind of surprising to me, because to me, if you get sick, toilet paper serves no significance to your life whatsoever. I mean, in all reality, great, I get sick, thank God it's stacked up on 40 rolls of shit paper. But now, in my medicine cabinet, well, congratulations, I got an expired box of Tylenol. I mean, just the way the mainstream media has turned this virus into such a pandemic that they are legitimately scaring, the common citizen in the United States, such as take us five, for example, or, 30 or 40-year-olds that are extremely healthy, that are in these extreme panics when literally the age groups from like 18 to 55 who have no underlying conditions, 80% of those people have made full recoveries or are expected to make full recoveries. But you don't hear that when it comes to the mainstream media. All you hear about is, two more cases are reported in this community where there's already like 15 cases. Well, okay, there's 2 more cases, but why don't you enlighten us on those other 15 patients that have the virus or are quarantined from the virus, and let us in on how they're doing and their conditions. 99% of the time, you're going to hear that these people are 100% healthy. They have no symptoms. They don't feel anything. And it's merely, a safety precaution. Take some of the GOP people, for example, who have come across the Wuhan virus, in recent weeks, such as, Representative Doug Collins from Georgia, who came in contact with the person who tested positive for the coronavirus at CPAC. He self-quarantined himself, but he already stated that he has no symptoms. He feels just fine, etc. What you don't hear about is the massive amount of people who have contracted it but are still completely healthy and are making full recoveries. You hear about such a minute group of people who suffer from underlying respiratory issues or diabetes or
I think Connor lost it, but I want to get Miles on here because he hasn't
extremely sick.
Connor, I think your camera just went off, but I want to hear Miles' opinion on the coronavirus right now, or the Wuhan virus. What we talk on the
Joe,
show.
do you
Go ahead.
think that China set this virus out on purpose?
To be quite frank with you, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's not something that I'm sold on completely, but I wouldn't be surprised if China did release this virus for 1 in 10 only. I mean, China has a reputation of not really caring about the preservation of life. For the longest time, they actually advocated for the killing of babies if they had a one-child law for a long time. And they don't really care for preservation of life. So I don't think they even care if they kill off a lot of their own people. With the intent of actually destroying the American economy, I can see that happening, right? I'm not entirely sold on this exact theory, but I believe that possibly it's something that they were willing to do. I think that China is actively looking out to destroy this country economically. Like I said before, the Communist Party of China and the Democrat Party, they have one thing in common, and that is destroying this country. That is destroying the reputation of President Donald Trump. And I think that they will do anything that they can in order to actually bring this country down to crumble. So go ahead, Miles.
I mean, I don't think China has a lot to gain from destroying our economy because they have a lot of stocks in our market. So I feel like the American dollar has a lot of power in the entire world. I don't think anybody would profit from destroying that.
Well, I mean, that's a fair assumption. That's a fair point that you made right there, which is the fact that, China does have a lot of investments into the United States, but you have to also understand China doesn't really care much about money. They're a communist country, so they can actually, they can do whatever they want. So China, what would China more care about? Money or, perspective when it comes to power and stuff like that. I mean, China's pushing in their own state media that it's our fault for the Wuhan virus, right? It's our fault for COVID-19. They're blaming President Trump for something that started in Wuhan, right? And it's something that's really, really interesting that you see the damages that are being done in the United States economically, and as well as when it comes to health and wellness. And it's something that we really, really need to pay attention to is the origins of this virus and what's the true intent of this, right? China is a really smart country, right? Chairman Xi is a really smart guy. He's not an idiot, right? He knows exactly what he's doing. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or not, but this is something that is definitely possible. So, and those are my thoughts, right? Right now, my top priority is bringing a cure right now and bringing the economy back to where it was. Just 2-3 weeks ago, the Dow Jones was at 29,000 points. Now it's at a terrible number of 21,000. So it's definitely very concerning, but I think the main concern about this is the economic threat rather than a health threat.
As far as the stock market goes, and being in finance classes and economics classes, is the Dow Jones Industrial is such a big misrepresentation of how an economy is doing. Whether you look at the Hang Seng Index, the Nike 225, the composite index of China, the GDAX, the FTSE, if you look at any of them, the one that you really want to pay attention to is the S&P 500 or the VOO ETF. Both of those are Standard & Poor 500s of, either Vanguard's representation of the best 500 companies or the S&P 500 of the Fortune 500's best companies. The Dow Jones is an average of 30 large companies, and it doesn't give an accurate description of how a market is essentially doing. It doesn't use any weighted arithmetic mean. One day the Dow can be 29,500 points, and then the next day it could be 28,700, and the next day it's 29,100. It doesn't display any type of correlation to how an economic, like any type of correlation to economic prosperity. Look at.
I mean, you're right.
If you look at the February numbers, and obviously they're slated to change, March and April. But if you look at the February numbers that were released in the beginning of May, when you started really seeing, the heart of the numbers start to pour into the U.S., you had 273,000 jobs added. You had unemployment drop to a new record low of like 3.5%. Wages still steadily increased. As far as this virus goes, it's going to have such a short, minute impact on the United States economy on a short term, on a 4 or 5 month scale. Yeah, you're going to see a market panic only because you see these companies kind of using it as an excuse to sell all their stocks that they have to take those profits. Because, if you look at, prior to 2016, before the election happened and you had the giant upset, Trump beating Hillary, and you saw this huge skyrocket in the market, and it went from 21,000, 22,000 of the Dow Jones to 29,000, and then suddenly you see all these companies capitalizing on those gains.
There's something that is really interesting that what you brought up is, the stock market doesn't really show about economic prosperity, but what it does show is pretty much how companies are doing right now, right? I heard a lot of people on the left, they're lying about this, which is people are they're being laid off because of the Wuhan virus and everything. It's not really happening, but companies are losing money right now, and that's a huge thing when it comes to the economy. But we need to really, really, truly understand what's happening here. It's not just companies. And I just received a private message from a friend of mine saying that, we have events, massive national events being canceled. Music festivals like Ultra Music Festival and other events like South by Southwest, Coachella being delayed. You have the NBL canceling spring training and delaying their normal season. You have the NHL canceling their season. You have the NBA canceling their season. It's losing money. It's losing a lot in this economy.
They're not canceling. They're suspending temporary play to resume at a later date.
I mean, how much money they're losing right now because of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, everything is going to have a short-term effect. I mean, this virus is pretty much affecting any type of global economic chain that you can think of. It's going to affect all these sporting events, because these sporting events, they employ hundreds of people, whether it's, field maintenance, whether it's concession stands, merchandise people, etc. These people are going to be affected. You're going to, I know for one, the logistics companies and the supply chain management companies, all these are going to take effects. I mean, these warehousing places are going to see such a drastic impact in hourly employees, because the production, numbers just aren't going to be there. I mean, if you look at UPS, I know a few people who are salary employees at UPS who have at some of the big facilities where they've had to release, temporary layoff, like, 100 people here, 100 people there, solely for the fact because the numbers aren't there. I mean, you look at Amazon, where's half the shit coming from? It's coming from China. and China's very bad with a lot of this stuff.
They're very bad, believe me when I tell you they're very bad people.
I mean,
And
the United States economy is number one, and China, we're gonna do everything we can to step away from China.
Well, I agree with you, and I agree with a lot of you guys that this is definitely a threat. This is something that is definitely overblown in the media, but we need to do something. But I want to thank every single one of you guys for joining us today. We do need to start. This is almost 2 hours, but just talking about the Wuhan virus, which is something I said on
Don't be wrong, my friend. You're doing good work.
Can we just hang out for example and appreciate this awesome We the People's holster that I got?
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Look at that, man. That's beautiful. What are you carrying in that?
My 9mm Walther PPQM2.
Wow, look at that, Walther.
You know what?
Walther.
Not a Walther guy, more of a Masada guy or a Glock guy or a SIG guy. Not really.
Well, guess what?
your
Walther
AR.
Arms from Fort Smith, Arizona. Don't you live in Arizona, Joe?
I do live in Arizona. Yes.
Just when I was checking out some handguns, the Walther just
Everyone's bringing out the guns now. Damn. I feel I have my guns in the other room right now.
Oh man,
Sleep with it.
All right, here's mine, guys. I hope you enjoy mine.
Oh, look at that fork.
Yeah.
It's a fully semi-automatic fork. We have to ban those immediately. It's an assault fork. All right, well, guys, it's getting pretty late over here. It's getting pretty late on the East Coast. Thank you for joining us today about this coronavirus, Wuhan virus, China virus, whatever you want to call it. What it really is a China virus. Discussion, how it's affecting the economy, how it's affecting the nation, how it's affecting our health, how to prevent it. And that's all. Pretty much all it is stay clean, stay healthy, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer.
And
don't lick doorknobs.
Don't lick doorknobs. No, absolutely not.
Do not lick doorknobs. That's a great.
And let's all never forget that Epstein didn't kill himself.
Exactly. This is really important here. Epstein did not kill himself.
And
we
you know
that
what?
For a fact.
And you know what? The Clintons ain't got. And you know what? The Clintons ain't got nothing on me.
No, they do not, sir. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining for another episode of Cup of Joe. We'll see you guys next week. I'm going to be making a lot more content soon. Follow me on social media at Joe Buzzrowie. Follow all these guys on social media. Just look up their names. They're great people here. And I'll see you guys soon.
Take it easy, Joe.
Take care, everybody.